Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
Jan, little bit, please. Thank you. Let's see, we did Happy Father's Day. We are the only church in the universe that starts services with the Doobie Brothers. And everyone on YouTube would know that if we pay them $5,000. Yeah, I know. So, things that make you go, A mind's direction is more important than its progress. Probably true. No, it is true. What do I mean? Probably. Every extreme attitude is a fight from the self. Our minds are lazier than our bodies. Oh yeah, this is. There we go. Egypt may have been the region where small felines first formed an alliance with humans. Whether or not that was the case, early Egyptians had such reverence for the cat that they treated the animal as a demigod. The bodies of enormous numbers of cats were mummified in order that they might be preserved to enter the spirit world along with their human companions. Until armies of Muhammad's followers invaded lands across the Mediterranean, the cat seemed to have been unknown in Europe. Even when introduced, it made no great hit. But the multitude of hordes of rats in the centuries after the cat crusades proved too much for the familiar rat killers, such as the ferret and the weasel, and the domestic cat rose to new importance. No household was complete without a hearth cat, as distinguished from the wild cats that still roamed in considerable numbers. In Germany, both Puss in Boots and Old Tom Growler became immortal figures in literature. Through the centuries, however, cats have reserved a decree of their independence. They were more aloof, less docile than other domestic animals. No matter how well he had been trained, a sturdy Tom will still scratch and spit when aroused. Even for persons who have seen it many times, few sights are more interesting or impressive than that of an angry cat with its back arched very high, strutting about on its toes. This feline stance became so familiar to Europeans that as early as 1500s, an angry human was compared with a cat. Regardless of how great or how little change is made in the arch of the backbone, to get one's back up is used to name entrance into the state of rage, suspicion, or indignation. We do have a couple patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin.
Hey, George and John.
Can YouTube charge us for that?
No.
Okay, good. Oh, okay, good. And John said, all you need is love. And George, no one who has had taps played for them has ever heard it. Oh, that's probably true. More t-shirts and sweatshirts. I'm up. If you're expecting bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, go catch a squirrel. The best thing about the good old days was that I wasn't good and I wasn't old. Me, I talk to myself. Me too. It is what it is. If money can't buy happiness, then explain beer, whiskey, vodka, and bacon. Everything is funnier when you're not allowed to laugh. Think about that one for a minute. Anybody do anything fun for Father's Day? Huh? Do anything fun? This is it? Yeah. Nice to see you. Cola-flavored Jell-O was introduced in 1942, but flopped and was discontinued within a year. Other failed Jell-O flavors: celery, chocolate, coffee, and apple. Yeah, rightly so, huh? So. Oh, and by the way, if you Jack Daniels, did I hear Jack Daniels? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, is that you? Okay. If you came too late this morning, you lost out on the eggs. They were gone. Still some cherries left? How many eggs did you sell? 12 dozen? Woohoo! Just like that. Yeah. A little boy wanted to meet God. He knew it was a long trip to where God lived, so he packed his suitcase with a bag of potato chips and a six-pack of root beer and started his journey. When he had gone about 3 blocks, he met an old man. He was sitting in the park just staring at some pigeons. The boy sat down next to him and opened his suitcase. He was about to take a drink from his root beer when he noticed that the old man looked hungry. So he offered him some chips. He gratefully accepted it and smiled. His smile was so pretty that the boy wanted to see it again. So he offered him a root beer. Again, he smiled at him. The boy was delighted. They sat there all afternoon, eating and smiling, but never said a word. As twilight approached, the boy realized how tired he was, and he got up to leave. But before he had gone more than a few steps, he turned around, ran back to the old man, and gave him a big hug. He gave him the biggest smile ever. When the boy opened the door to his own house a short time later, his mother was surprised by the look of joy on his face. She asked him, "What did you do today that made you so happy?" And he said, "Well, I had lunch with God." But before his mother could respond, he added, "You know what? He's got the most beautiful smile I'd ever seen." Meanwhile, the old man, also radiant with joy, returned to his home. His son was stunned by the look of peace on his face, and he asked, "Dad, what did you do today that made you so happy?" He replied, "I ate potato chips in the park with God." Before his son responded, he added, "You know, he was much younger than I expected." Too often we underestimate the power of touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. Very, very, very true. People come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Embrace all equality. Have lunch with God. Bring chips. Amen. More dogs and cats. If you've never had dogs and cats, you may not quite understand this. If you have, you'll understand them. I can sit on the couch on my bed any way I wanted without having to take into consideration how much space several furry bodies needed to get comfortable. I would have enough money and no guilt to go on a real vacation. I would not be on a first-name basis with 6 veterinarians as I put their yet unborn grandchildren through college. The most used words in my vocabulary would not be out, sit, down, come, no, stay, and leave it alone. My house would not be cordoned off into zones with baby gates and makeshift barriers. Got a buzz. Have to figure out what that's about. I took my wife to a restaurant. The waiter, for some reason, took my order first. "I'll have the rump steak, rare, please." He said, "Aren't you worried about the mad cow disease?" And he goes, "Nah, she can order for herself." And then the fight started, yes, yes. My wife and I were sitting at a table at our high school reunion, and she kept staring at a drunken man swigging his drink as he sat alone at a nearby table. I asked her, "Do you know him?" "Yes," she sighed. He's my old boyfriend. I understand he took up drinking right after we split up all those many years ago, and I hear he hasn't been sober since." "My God," I said, who would you think a person could go on celebrating that long?" And then the fight started. We are going to talk today about a subject that we have never really talked about before in church. However, it's one of those ones that many of you have thought about, thinking about, talking about, or have people in the family. So one of those, shh, don't talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So, let's sing a song. It's Deneen. So guess what? We're going to do some drumming.
Awesome.
Daryl.
Hi, here we go. All right, my drummers come on up, please. What? It's loud. I'll just move it down. That better? Oh, right at the drum. That's good. Yeah, thanks. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, welcome to Father's Day. I also want to honor the stepfathers, which is, I didn't know my father. I recently lost my stepfather. So, with that said, let's honor them too. And with that, let's start off with Mother. Well, first let's bless our drums. Let's go to the east, go Hanta Yo. To the south, Hanta Yo. To the west, Hanta Yo. To the north, Hanta Yo. Grandfather Sky, Hanta Yo. Mother Earth, Hanta Yo, and the great Creator. All right. Ready? Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 oh. 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 Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 oh. 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 Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 oh. 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 Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 oh. Okay, anybody first drumming Sunday? Welcome. Hope we don't scare you off. All right, the next one is it's like a blessing, honoring song. Yeah, we'll just do it. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, hey, my drummers here, please. Yeah. All right, let me get a drink. Any request? What, one more? Okay. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh, hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. We are all sacred beings of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. We are all sacred beings of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. You are a sacred being of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. We are all sacred beings of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. We are all sacred beings of light. Hey ah, hey ah, hey ah, hey oh. Hey, hey ah, hey oh. Hey ah, hey. Hey ah, hey oh. Shoot. All right. Again. Well. Oh yeah, we can do a round robin. That sounds awesome. I love doing round robins. Okay. Each. Let me get another drink. Each drum has its own voice, and as we play as one. But you don't really get to hear the voice of the individual drums. So there was a handful of us started a drumming circle, I don't know, many years ago. And we meet this Tuesday night, by the way, if you want to come at 7 o'clock here. And John came up with this, well, you can't hear the individual, and when we play as one, you can't hear the individual voices. So he came up with what he calls a round robin. So kind of goes something like this. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll stop. And then the next person will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. So forth, so on. We'll go all the way around the room. Comes back to me. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And he'll start on 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll add one at a time. So we go all the way around. And then watch me. And then as soon as I fall off, then we'll fall off one at a time. Any questions? You look confused. Okay. Okay. That's okay. All right, here we go. I'll start here and then you and we'll go around. Okay. Shoot. fast, we'll hit it. There you go. There we go. Next, right here.
Must be William.
No.
On the hard beat. Join on the hard beat. First time through, that was awesome. Did you notice how it changed though as people dropped on and added on? All right. Thank our drummers. And they'll be back.